I'm Scooter. My favorite fruit is pickles. This is episode 20 of Sneaky Geek.
Hi everybody, welcome to Sneaky Geek. My name is Bryce Rankins, and this man right here next to me is Brian.
Yeah, that's me. Hello.
Hooray! And with us today, we have Scooter.
I'm Scooter.
Hi, Scooter.
Hi, Scooter.
What's up, guys?
Do you want us to call you Scooter?
You can call me Scooter.
I always call you Scooter.
It's true. And it's okay.
Cool. So, Scooter is with us, not to be confused with the famous Scooter of the Muppets, or confuse them all you want. And today we were going to talk about Lego minifigures.
Or Legos in general.
But then we realized that
It's
Legos...
really late.
It's also really late. But Legos lead us down...
Very narrow path.
A narrow path. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty to talk about with Legos. I'm sure there's somebody out there who's like, you could talk about so much more with Legos. Remember Bionicle?
I love the Legos, guys.
But...
Where did that accent come from? For that nerd... Like, stereotypical nerd.
Braces.
With
Braces.
And that weird lisp.
Either way...
I bet it was Big Bang Theory.
No,
it was
actually,
way
I think
before.
it was...
Well, I'm going to blame Big Bang Theory.
I mean, you can. No one in Big Bang Theory actually talks like that.
That's true.
But when we started talking about Legos, we began to realize that leads us to a much broader subject, which, I mean, go figure, we start talking about one thing and we go off on another tangent. Never.
Never.
What? This is a professional
I've listened to
No.
this podcast every episode, and I've never heard you guys do that.
Right.
Never.
Yeah.
Ever.
No.
Never.
Yeah. What were we talking about?
I don't remember. Oh,
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys next
Yeah,
week.
that's good enough. All right, see you guys.
I like Legos.
Anyway.
Oh, that's right. Legos.
Legos, that's right. So we were talking about Legos, and we started realizing that Legos, like many things that we liked as a child, were things that we kind of gave up and came back to. Brian,
Because we thought they were too childish.
yeah, Brian gave up magic for a while. I gave up anime for a while. Scooter gave up Legos for a while.
Yep.
I mean, everybody... We talked about this a little with the Dave podcast, which one of the first ones when we talked about comic books, where there kind of came a point when people gave up comic
Stopped
books.
reading
That's
at a
why a
certain
lot of
age.
those action comics are so beat up, because they were really only purchased by 10, 11, 12-year-old kids.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And... now they're really rare because they've all had like mustaches drawn on Lois Lane, and they've been folded up and put in the back of the pocket to, ride over to your friend's house and then lend to him.
You yelled at by that old guy next door?
Yeah, that old guy. He went and talked to all of your parents and kept going door to door.
All the time?
Said that he
lawn.
had to go to talk to people each time. Said hi. I'm
They were
required by
always
law
so
to.
sticky when you got them back. Anyways,
So-
I'm just nodding a lot. That's not good for podcasting.
Yeah,
So
so
this
this
is
is
a
a podcast.
Cool, we've gotten that out of the way.
Cool, now that's out of the way. We're going to talk today about putting away your childish things and coming back to your childish things then. But first, actually, I want to talk about your Lego collection, because that's
It's pretty impressive.
pretty impressive.
We'll post a picture a bit
Yeah, there'll be some stuff on the Instagram. Brian, make sure we handle some stuff on the Instagram.
on it.
Cool. So, Scooter,
Yes,
you have a shitload of Legos.
I do.
Yeah.
You have some of the Lego sets that I've really wanted, like Slave One and Star-Lord's fighter, his Ravager.
Oh, the
ship.
Milano. I have two
Milano,
different versions.
Yeah.
You have two different versions of the
Yes.
Milano?
They
I don't
released
have the
two.
original, but I have the two later ones.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
super cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I got
Wait,
it.
they released 3 then?
Yeah, there was the Guardians of the
The
Galaxy
big
1.
ass one.
Right.
There's Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Okay.
And Infinity War.
Avengers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there one for the Infinity War 2?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, there's one for the Infinity War, not
Yeah.
for
Also-
Infinity War 2.
No.
Right.
Yes, I have
Yet.
the second and third iteration.
Sweet.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool beans.
But you
Cool
also have
beans.
a metric shit ton of minifigures.
Yeah, you have more minifigures than Legos, it would seem.
Yeah, I'm more into the minifigs than the actual Lego sets.
Cool.
Just because they're easier to collect
All right.
and store
That's
Yeah.
fair.
and
Yeah, cool. Stands for 'em.
display.
Yours are displayed on little staircase things, which I've seen pretty often. Did you build the staircase things
I did.
with just spare Legos?
Yes.
That's super cool.
Yes. I have a Rubbermaid, infinity gallon
Yeah.
size, full of just spare
Standard
parts.
Walmart Infinity
exactly.
section.
Yeah, the Infinity section.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that section.
Yeah.
It's just past the Beyond section, which is weird because that's usually with Bed Bath & Beyond. But
But yeah, no, there's a
At
Beyond
that
section
point-
in Walmart.
at
But
that
in
point, they end up
Walmart.
at almost the same spot.
That's
right
where
between
Walmart.
right between where you transcend like meth addict and white supremacy, like that's where you find
In Walmart.
in Walmart. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, if you're we're right now in the north part of Bakersfield where that also is a transcendence of that spot.
It's true.
But
I'm on the cusp.
I was like, we're just north of that, too.
It's true. I'm not in it. I'm around it.
nice. Yeah, close enough.
I can look in and be like, man, that's not right. But I'm not in it.
Yeah. That's
So
the
good.
important.
Which allows you to safely store your Lego minifigs, which you happen to also have a tub for. What's the tub? Tell me about your
Well,
Infinity
that's
tub.
just full of the random pieces I will need to make the pedestals to store the minifigs.
I gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
so when did you start collecting minifigs?
When I started making money.
Oh, that's a
As-
perfect time to start collecting things.
yeah.
Why didn't
As
we
an
think
adult.
of that?
Because we don't make money.
One day. Sorry, Mom.
Yep. No. Yeah, I moved out of my parents' house with a girl.
Ooh.
Ooh. I know, right?
You should marry her or something like that.
Yeah, you should totally marry her.
For like a Vegas wedding.
You did?
I did.
Oh, dude, that's great.
That's...
And she still likes the Legos.
I feel like that's something I should establish, that I am a married man
Yeah.
who collects Legos, and my wife doesn't care.
That's because your wife collects skulls.
Yeah,
So,
we're into weird stuff.
yeah, no.
Not
Not,
weird
not
stuff.
human skulls.
Not weird stuff, but weird stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, she's got the bones and things around, so
Yeah.
I got the Legos,
She's basically an archaeologist.
essentially.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
So-
Basically. Yeah.
Anyway, so you moved out with a girl,
Yes.
which is cool.
Yeah,
Moving out with an adult of romantic interests is always a nice thing to be able to do.
indeed.
And then you nice glasses with
Adjusting.
adjusting with the indeed. So this is a podcast.
Podcast,
And,
you can't see
Scooter's
anything.
adjusting his glasses in a highly mature and sophisticated manner.
Well,
Anyway.
basically, after moving out and thinking that I was a cool grown-up, as we do.
As you do.
One time I went back home and realized all my beloved toys had been just discarded and tossed aside by my younger brothers and my parents because I was gone.
Yeah.
And they needed a room.
Mm-hmm.
And that crushed me.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah. So I took what I could,
Salvaged of the
salvaged
collection. you
everything that I could, and just had them away. And then what really started it, I'm remembering now, what the catalyst of this all was when I realized that there were different Iron Man
Oh.
designs.
Yeah.
could. Like for each mark.
For each mark, whatever,
yeah.
they had Lego actually released, designs.
Right. And after
Starting
Iron
with-
Man 3, they had plenty to choose from.
Oh,
Plenty.
yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think I would ever need or want or care.
How many Iron Mans do you have?
I have all Lego Iron Man they've all but one that they've ever released.
What's the one you're missing?
It's some exclusive Toy Fair Iron.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's like $1,000.
Oh, we were talking about that earlier.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it was exclusive for this Toy Fair, and if you wanted to buy it aftermarket, you better sell your kidney if you're not a millionaire.
Gotcha.
So, I'm not one of those, unfortunately. If I was, then, I'd probably have 3.
Right.
Right.
But,
Naturally.
as you do. But once I noticed or realized that they had, different designs, I had to have them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm somewhat of a completist, where if, they release different iterations of a thing,
You
I
need 'em.
must have them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that collector's
Yeah.
itch.
I get that. I get that
Yeah.
collector itch
Yeah.
for sure.
Oh, yeah.
There's one minifigure specifically that I spent way too much on. And I'm not going to go into specifics.
Which one was it, though?
Which minifigure was it?
It was an Iron Man.
Oh, okay.
It was the Silver Centurion.
Oh,
Centurion.
yeah.
However you say that. It's supposed to come free when you ordered
Is it a Centurion?
Centurion, yeah. Silver Centurion. I can't say the word right now. It was supposed to come free when you pre-ordered a Lego
One of the Lego games,
Marvel
right?
game
Yeah.
from GameStop, and I could care less about video games.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't care? Could care. Couldn't care less.
You couldn't care less.
Yeah.
I don't play video games ever. But I wanted
Needed that, yeah.
I wanted it and needed it. So instead of, pre-ordering the video game and getting it, I thought I could maybe just go get it. Well, after much searching and pining and just wanting and wishing and hoping,
Yeah.
I found one for half the price that it was normally going for.
Mm-hmm.
And
Which
I
is still
swooped.
too much.
It was still very much.
Yeah.
Way more than I should have paid for it.
Uh-huh.
But I swooped it and I got it, and I'm a very happy man.
Oh, there you go.
Good. Awesome. Okay, so you have a crap load of Iron Mans. You have all the Iron Mans.
Yes.
Except for one. And then you went on to collect several other sets. You have, do you have all the Simpsons?
I do.
You have all the Simpsons figures. You have you have Every Time I Die.
Yeah, I
But you made those.
That's how far my obsession has gone. Is I have a favorite band,
Yeah.
and just from random pieces I've collected or found, I've assembled
The band.
the band.
Which
So
is pretty spot on.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the band too. He actually got me into him. And yeah, he handed me the guitar, so I kind of freaked. Because I'm like, oh my god, this is perfect.
So you actually have gone beyond just purchasing the sets and are now like...
Oh yeah,
You've gone into sort of
make
creative.
my habit has gone aftermarket. There's a website. I don't know if I should promote or can.
We'll talk about it. It's there.
It's bricklink.com.
Uh-huh.
You can buy individual pieces if you're into actually, constructing. Was it like sets of your own, or customize things,
Yeah,
or doing anything you want?
Customize.
But you can go there and you can buy minifigures. You can buy sets. You can buy pieces, whatever.
That's cool.
I'll go there every now and then and spend
See what they got. And
too much money.
Right on.
Well,
When did we move from the purchasable minifigures into the I'll take this hobby into a creative zone? Is that pretty far into it?
Not really. It wasn't too far because, once I found out that the website existed and I didn't have to buy the sets anymore to get the specific minifigures, because half of the time I'd spend, I'd buy a $50 set for
just for the one
two
figure.
pieces.
Right.
For the minifigure. Like, there was, I have all the Avengers.
But you didn't have to necessarily buy
And-
Avengers Tower.
Yeah, there were times when I would have to buy a full set to get two of the Avengers.
Yeah.
Right.
And then once I found the site, I was like, all I
way
had to do
easier.
it's
Yeah, that would've
cheap,
been really
it's
nice
cheaper.
when I was a kid,
Yeah,
'cause-
it's I only have to spend maybe $5 on
Right.
a minifig instead of $25 for the whole set,
Right.
taking up all this space.
Yeah.
And at that point, once I got to an abundance of spare parts,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I can just create this. Because there's, people all over the internet that are way more creative than I am and way more into it than I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I must have that. And there's no way to actually buy
Yeah.
a figure
Yeah.
without paying an arm and a leg for the
For
just
the
one
whole. Yeah.
one little thing. Like, there's a website where you can buy customized bricks,
Oh wow.
and they're way overpriced. I mean, I understand that they're priced accordingly to what they've done.
Right.
For them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they've actually printed on them and they've done what they want to do.
Yeah,
And
they're
I
not just
understand
dancing
that.
here. They're doing
Yeah.
as legit as it can be.
Yeah, it's very, very well done. But I'm not gonna pay money for that. I don't need to.
Right.
So with the pre-existing pieces they have, I'll just pick and choose and buy that and assemble it on my own for a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when I was a kid, I got the Land Speeder, and I think it came with Luke, and I think it also came with Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
But I would have had to buy one expensive ass set for Chewie and Han.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's why I didn't need Chewie and Han's. I didn't need the Millennium Falcon. I mean,
Yeah.
I would have
Kinda
loved
needed
to
it,
have the
but
Millennium
yeah.
Falcon.
Yeah.
But there was no way my parents were going to go spend that money on a Millennium
$100.
Falcon.
Yeah.
But, a little $10, $15 land speeder that Luke drives on Tatooine, that's something they could do.
It's doable.
Yeah.
and
absolutely.
it's cool that there's that option, because internet, which is something that
We didn't have this.
weirdly we didn't have as children. That's such a and it's not weird for us to say that, but it's weird for me because I work with young people.
Yeah.
And
Or that do.
they're kids who have had the internet their entire life, who've had
Yeah.
access to things like this their entire life, and so many of them have no idea, even still, how special, how many, not just how special it is, but also that there's more to it than just the 4 social media sites they live on.
Oh yeah.
It's the entirety of human knowledge and creativity is at your fingertips,
Yeah.
which is such an incredible resource.
Yeah.
Which I think is one of the big reasons why geek culture's been so accessible as adults.
Yeah.
You know?
Which kind of ties back into what we were talking about, where we didn't really have that as kids, so our geekdom was very much on the down low.
Yeah. I mean, we all hit it, I think, for multiple reasons, especially with just the stigma against it socially.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I think there was a longer period than necessary for keeping it on the DL.
Yeah.
There was also, I mean, we've talked about this plenty of times on the podcast, where it's also because the community surrounding it that was within our immediate vicinity was not one we wanted to associate with.
Yeah.
You know, I left anime from high school because the community of the people I kept running into who were into it in college were weirdos, you know, and I was like, yeah, I'm not about this. You're like too intense.
Yeah.
And that's that weird, like, accidental gatekeeping.
Right.
You know, I've never really run into anybody in the Lego community who's a pretentious douche, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Like, anytime I see people looking at the Lego minifigures at, like, cons and stuff, because there's always tons of them at cons.
Yeah. They're super helpful and they're really
They're
nice.
always helpful, and people are into them, and they're like, oh, did you see that one? It's really cool. Like,
or someone next to
really
you
excited.
like, yeah.
You know,
That's awesome.
and they're it's never like, you know, well, that's not real, that's not authentic because of this. Like, it's all, you know, there's a lot of that.
They're very
creative
encouraging,
base, which
and
is really neat.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I feel like some communities have really healthy appreciation, and then others can be just a little bit too, this is mine and I'm holding a tight thing on it. But I think with Legos,
Star Wars fandom this last
Star
week.
Wars this last month,
year,
and then a
5 years.
month after Last Jedi.
Yeah.
And
anyways,
that's
another podcast.
That is another podcast. But I think that maybe the Lego community is coming from a place of like, this was exclusively for play, and because of the time that they left it at, they haven't created this weird toxic, this is the version I remember kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, I watched the beginning of a video on YouTube the other day. This guy had posted an entire video for why he hated the remake of Secret of Mana. And Secret of Mana was a Super Nintendo game that's been recently re-released on PS4 with new graphics and new translations. Shout out to my friend Paula, who may or may not had something to do with that. But he was complaining about all these problems with it. And then some people got on there and were like, those problems were always there with that game. They were always there. And so he released like a 10-15 minute video about like, hey, I was wrong about Secret of Mana because I had all these ideas of what it was in my head from childhood, but like we see things through a weird lens when we're kids.
Oh, definitely.
Our imaginations go further in our memory, and everything you ever remember isn't actually a memory of the actual event. It's a memory of the last time you remembered it.
Yeah.
And so things get distorted. Yeah. And I think with Legos, the only thing you really can remember is like, this was fun.
They were fun.
Bionicle was weird. Like, that's all you need to know.
Solid.
Absolutely.
That's it.
The Bionicle community as children was super weird. And those people might have that gatekeepy thing that we're talking about.
None of my friends were into it, so like we didn't have
so it was never an issue. But like
my younger brother was the one that was into that, and I always thought he was weird. So you know.
But like the Lego the Lego movie encapsulates it perfectly.
Oh
like,
yeah.
There's basically two types of Lego fans. Don't touch this and make whatever you want.
Oh yeah.
And both of them can appreciate making it, you know, because it's like, oh yeah, I want this cool figure of this character that doesn't actually exist.
Yeah.
A Lego collector can be like, yeah, that's super cool, it'll go on my shelf. But when you get home, like, no one cares what you do with it.
Yeah.
You know? I feel like I should keep a figure in a box.
Yeah.
Like an action figure or something like that, but at the same time, like, part of me's like, but I want you to stand on my desk and look.
Yeah.
I want to put you in different poses and like.
I want to put.
I want to go. So Bryce was over the other day, and we're sitting there talking, and he gets up and he looks, and I have a nice TV stand. I'll switch figures on there every once in a while because I got so many figures, as you do with your minifigs.
Yes, indeed.
And so recently I put Loki and Groot and Ahsoka and Han and Chewie.
And Spider-Gwen.
Spider-Gwen's up there. I found an X-23 in X-Force gear. The black and gray costume. So
from the Yoast run?
Yeah. Which you haven't read, so it's okay.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's alright. So we were just sitting there talking. Bryce is up, checking them out, and then I go in the kitchen, grab some water, I come out. He's got the two figures in his hand. He's like putting it into pose, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And then he sets it down, and it's this 12-inch Groot. I know it's like the 8-inch figure.
He's huge.
Yeah, he's a solid figure.
He's heavy too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have the Legends Loki from Thor Ragnarok, and he's got him lifting him up.
He's
by
like
the
got
shoulders.
him in an arm bar and like holding him with one arm.
Yeah, and I'm like, Oh, that's staying like that. Yeah,
Yeah, no, I came back a week later and Clint was still holding him up there.
It's so
That's
good.
awesome.
But anyways, yeah.
Yeah, but I definitely straddle that line where growing up as a kid, I would get the Lego sets, I would build them, and you don't touch them.
Yeah.
As a kid, like, I was a very lame kid.
Oh, yeah.
But now, it's like, that's, you know, I guess I'm more on the customized side. It's like, I can take a piece from this set and this set
here,
and make this guy over here. It's like, oh, this was so much cooler than this. And, like, you know, if there's pieces that come, you know, standard with a set, I'll be like, you know what, that doesn't work. I'm gonna change it to this.
If they're like
another
different
piece.
colors,
like
or
a different
something.
color or something. Like I've seen people like change the hair on the new Captain America.
Yep.
And you know, as a kid, I wouldn't touch that. But now it's like this hair is way better than that one, so I'm gonna change it. It matches better. So like now,
I feel like I always started in that in that vein. Like it was always
like you built it as is.
I'm gonna build it as is. I'm gonna have my figures as is, and then there came a point where like suddenly you stop noticing that it's there on your desk, and that's the point where you're like crunch, and you just tear it all, throw it into the box, and then it's anybody's game. You know, then suddenly you have new paint to play with.
Yeah.
And so like I remember when I got my Western set, because that Western set that run that they had was just fantastic. But the best part about the Western set was the faces. Like all the faces were really unique and really new.
Right.
All of them had like
I think that was one of the first sets where they really expanded the faces and stuff like that.
Really cool. Because like all of the figures of the Space Corps with the big green bee on their chest, and the knights. Like, for the most part, all had really generic faces. Occasionally lipstick would be on the women with eyelashes or something.
Super.
But, and you couldn't necessarily swap those out as much as you wanted.
Yeah.
Or rather, you could and nobody would really notice. But, like, it was the Western set, and then the, like, super intense scuba diving set where they had, like, the really dope submarines.
Yeah.
Cool.
Those guys, like... I feel like I kind of looked up to some of these scuba guys. I thought they were the coolest dudes. Like, you got a submarine, you got a cool beard, you got like a harpoon gun.
Yes. Yeah. Going after sharks and
and now I have like 3 extra sharks because I only had 1 before, but now they're coming in sets and droves. Octopus.
Yes.
Yeah, super cool. And so once that happened, then it was like, okay, you stay this way.
Yes.
And then eventually you got bored and you were like,
what else?
Your beard is going on this night.
This guy.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, I played with toys for far too long.
Going down.
Yeah. And I feel like because so many of those characters were customizable, it made for so much more. Yeah. Like there's that play aspect, but like I feel much more now that I like if I build a set, because I got 2 sets for Christmas like 2 years ago, and every Christmas I shake the box, you know, and every time I go. It's Legos, even if it's not Legos.
And you still get that same feeling.
Yep.
But it's you know.
You guys know what we're talking about.
But I'll shake a video game box and go, is it Legos? Like,
and you're still half joking, but you're still like hoping on the inside.
I had done it.
Legos.
I had done it for like 3 years, and then 2 years ago I shook it, and I went, holy shit, it's really Legos.
No, that happened. I think it was for Christmas, right after Force Awakens came out. I got this like big old box from my dad for Christmas. I'm like, oh, like it looks about the size of like
you're like
clothes
nice
box.
Briefcase, clothes,
and I pick it up and it's kind of heavy and it makes a noise and it's like
that little bag with holes in it is inside.
Yeah, and I shook it around a little bit. It's like, oh, it's Legos, and it was the big old TIE Fighter.
That TIE Fighter
Force Awakens
sick.
with the red.
Nice.
That First Order TIE Fighter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I registered for Legos on my wedding registry.
I got you guys Legos for your wedding.
You're the only one.
I was the only one, huh?
Yeah. That's why I remember I was the best. Yes. I registered, and she, my wife was like, yeah, duh.
Yeah.
Do that.
Which is funny because of all our friends in general, like I assumed multiple people would get you guys.
But nope, they're not as good. You heard that.
People.
Friends.
I tell you what. Anyway, so like I feel like those 2 camps aren't like at war with each other. Right. You know, not like I like Solo, I didn't like Solo.
Of each other's.
Yeah, you do with what you do with it what you want because there's plenty to go around.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, comic books, it's like you've read it how many times? Like you took it out of the plastic more than twice. Yeah. Like you have the protective
you read DC
people.
Or you read Marvel or you read superhero books.
Yeah, or like you watch superhero movies, or you liked the new Star Wars, or you don't, expanded universe. There's so many reasons to divide so many fandoms, and I don't think that Lego really has had that.
That's cool.
And that's, thank God, because it's been really nice. But Brian, what are like two or three things that you like absolutely just dumped because you were growing up, quote unquote, growing up?
Anime, sort of. I started getting into it, and then I just kind of fell out of it for a little bit. Pokemon.
The game, the card game,
yes,
the cartoon?
all of the above.
Okay, I get you.
Yeah. And I'm not sure, because like I've always been kind of nerdy, like that's what I've been kind of known for, but I was definitely on a down low with it for a bit, especially through the high school years. I mean, I was still like the weird dude, but I ended up doing a whole bunch of stuff in high school, so I didn't really get a chance to be super nerdy, but I still I took my Star Wars books to school. I may have like busted them out all the time, but like they were always with me.
Yeah.
Reading.
Yeah, novels and stuff.
Yeah, and then maybe even comic books. Not really that I got old for them, like they're for kids, but just like I just kind of fell out of it, and then found them again later on.
Yeah. Magic
Similar. Yeah. We were pretty much hiding in the library playing. There was a good
in high school.
Yeah, there was a good 7 to 8 of us, and then a few of the guys got kind of rowdy and loud when they lost, and we got kicked out. We're like, well, we can't play anywhere anymore because we can't.
Yeah, we can't play outside.
We can't play outside. There's
people
will
out
see
there.
us. Yeah.
That's okay. That's fair.
Yeah. What about you? Oh.
Maybe just toys in general.
Yeah.
Just, I was like, oh, I'm too cool now. I'm old. I like girls. And girls aren't going to be into a guy that has toys still.
Yeah.
Right.
So, probably just
we
Lego.
talk about your horses a little bit?
Oh, thank you.
Sorry. You have this really cool collection of brindle horses.
Get Briar
horses.
Get it right. No.
Sorry. Briar horses.
Briar horses. I got into one from the earliest I can remember. I've loved horses.
They're seriously like the manliest animal.
They're the best animal. And there's that picture of a tweet that's going around. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's the one that says, if you pass a horse and you don't say, horse, you're a psychopath. And that's the most true statement.
I've seen one with a cow, and I'm like, well... I feel like there's other animals.
Horse is true.
But yeah,
we grew up around cows. We're not surprised.
That's true.
Granted, if I see a field full of cows, I will roll down my window and go, moo.
No. So, I don't know. I just loved horses.
I knocked stables in college. I get it.
Yeah, I grew up with a friend who had them, so I was around them.
That's cool.
And I supposedly had one. My dad grew up on a ranch working for a guy, and every time, once I was born and all my brothers, once we were born, he quote-unquote gave us a horse.
Huh.
So anytime we visited, he'd be like, oh yeah, that's your horse.
That's your horse over there.
Yeah. So there was that, which was great as a kid, but obviously probably meant nothing. But yes, since I was, a young lad, a wee lad, I just loved, toy horses.
Yeah.
And
I did too, actually, weirdly. I never had any of my own. I mean, I guess I probably had a few that like came with cowboys or something like that.
Yeah. I wanted to be a cowboy.
Dude, that was what I wanted to be when I grew up.
Yeah. I've always wanted to, and I still do.
There was a cowboy who came in to the construction company that my grandmother worked for, and I thought he was the coolest guy ever. And I thought he was so cool that my sweet, wonderful grandmother, may she rest in peace, got me an autograph of this guy roping a cattle.
Wow.
Oh, no way.
Like, went to him and was like, hey, my grandson thinks you're the friggin' bee's knees.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she didn't say it exactly like that. Probably neither of those phrases were words that she used.
Well,
but
she was grandma.
Frickin' or bee's knees. Both.
Yeah. Not frickin'
not even
bee's knees
applicable.
for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, she's like, yo, you're the cat's pajamas, dog.
There you go.
And I'm really confusing my... But she got a I hung it on my wall. It sat next to me on my bunk bed. Like, there's the cool cowboy that thinks I'm nice. I'm the greatest 6/7-year-old. I don't remember. Time is fleeting. But, cowboys were super cool. I get it. Like, totally.
Absolutely. I always wanted to be one and still do. And even now, I just went to my youngest brother's graduation. And they were talking about kids who actually did, 4-H and FFA. And these kids who, rode and cattle rustled.
Yep.
And I was like, you're so much cooler and more of a man than I am, and you're just graduating high school?
Dude, at your brother's high school, they have spring fling. Spring fling happens.
Yeah.
And then they have FFA week.
Wow.
Which is spring fling, but entirely FFA themed.
That's crazy.
Instead of doing your usual, oh, today's food sale day. Like, yeah, okay, we did that last week. Yeah. Now it's FFA week. So it's food sale day, but it's all like the kids who were in the agriculture class.
That milked the cows and sheep.
And it's like, oh, cool. Last week we had like a rock band come out and play. Well, this week we have a petting zoo. Like, and it's all of their animals. Like, they go so hardcore at that school. And it's really, really cool. But like, that is something that they're allowed to have and is nurtured and is encouraged, which is really cool. And I guarantee you, if any of them have toys of their animals, they're probably still not going to have complete acceptance by their friends.
Oh, probably not. I mean, they probably have trophies of their animals, and that's
probably. Oh, yeah. Probably.
That's awesome.
They'll probably just show them at the fair.
Yeah. I had a lot. I had about 180 students at that school. And in every single classroom I had, of the 5, there were FFA students in it. Mm-hmm. So that school's really, really into it. But it's cool when there's something that like actually nurtures that. Like when I was in high school, I was in Anime Club. I helped create Anime Club. I was one of the first 20 signatures for that club. And what's cool is that club still exists at that school today.
Oh yeah,
wow. And Dave is actually the advisor for it.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he couldn't when I was there because
he was doing a bunch of stuff.
He was in forensics, and Spencer had just popped out, and we ended up going with the Spanish teacher. But in the 2nd or 3rd year of its existence, I became the president of Anime Club. Like, I was all up in it.
Yeah.
You know? And I had gotten into anime after kind of actually going through that phase of like, no, we're done with this. WB was not on Dish. At least not on my parents' particular like channel circulation.
Oh, okay.
And so I went from being able to see Batman Beyond, Pokemon, Mega Man, all those shows, to not being able to see them at all. Oof. And so once they were all taken away from me, and I wasn't really on Cartoon Network, I wasn't really into the Toonami thing just yet.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, okay, I'm moving forward now. Yeah. I'm at middle school, I'm moving forward. And,
well, mature adult, basically.
And then Charles was like, I made some joke about Dragon Ball Z being dumb, and he was like, "Have you ever watched Dragon Ball Z?" This is the first time that I've ever done this. I think I did something
similar in
and I was like,
he sat me down,
No, actually, I've only ever seen the commercials, but they're always just screaming. And he's like, "Come over to my house. We're gonna watch Dragon Ball Z." And my poor brother, because every day I went home on the bus, I was like, "I gotta get home. New DBZ out today.
Yeah,
my programs are on."
Yeah,
and I ran home to watch the next DBZ, and then I started watching them at Charles' house. And then I mentioned it to my buddy Jared, who actually started the Anime Club. Like, he actually was the president when it first started. He and Richard.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He and Richard McNulty started it together. But I told him, and he was like, dude, Dragon Ball Z, like,
it's that's
low-level stuff. You got to see, like, Trigun and
Gundam,
Angel
everything.
Sanctuary. So I went from the super, like, Americanized to being like, you watching that in English? What's wrong with you?
And then
really, dude?
Yeah.
Like, the subs versus dubs, I was all on the sub side, except for Fooly Cooly, which is coming out with new ones this summer. We'll talk more anime on another podcast. But Fooly Cooly and Cowboy Bebop are the only two that could be in English. But I went full forced into it. And by the end of my senior year, I'd seen so much. My best friends were all traveling off to Japan to go to the sister city. And like I spoke some Japanese, and I was just in the trenches. And then I've always been kind of a video gamer, and I played with action figures for way too long because I'm a late bloomer. No, I'll say it.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I played with action figures until I was like 14 years old.
Oh yeah.
I also went from like, we're making, this is just how we're playing, to like, and then this happens in my story, and then this happens in my story. So I started writing.
Oh wow.
And then that went into drawing and comic books and all that. So I wrote comics in high school. So like I really had it, but as soon as I went to college,
gone.
I got my first college girlfriend, because my first girlfriend in high school, my first official one, she was super weeaboo. And all of my Cowboy Bebop soundtracks came from her. Half the anime I saw was because she introduced me to it.
Oh, wow.
But when college came along, I'm like, no. Mm-hmm. And I got a girlfriend, and she was super cute, and I was really proud, and I was like, I was walking on eggshells the entire time, because I was like, I'm going to lose this shit.
She can never know.
And so one day I clicking through channels, and Full Metal Alchemist was on. And I stop it, and I, not even thinking, oh, she's here. And we watched probably like 7 minutes of it. Mm-hmm. And then I finally go, oh. And I turned my head quickly, and I realized she's right there. And I'm like, oh, God. So I changed the channel. She goes, hey, I was watching that. That's when I realized I did not know anything about this girl. And I was not qualified to be dating her. But I started throwing those parties.
Yeah.
And, that's when Brian and I became friends. And, I was into Harry Potter.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's where we kind of, first started hanging out.
Yeah, I kind of was into Pokemon a little bit. I knew a lot about Pokemon from when I was a kid, but I wasn't still into it.
Yeah.
And it was weird because the coolest people I knew were still playing Pokemon.
Wow.
My buddy John.
Or
no, the video game.
The video game.
John plays Pokemon to this day as much as you do.
Hell yeah. They're so fun.
But he's only playing red, blue, and yellow. He's playing on his OG Game Boy. He doesn't have a DS or anything like that. So it's really weird. But college was when I absolutely started hiding it. Mm-hmm. And then I was dating a girl, and one day she was like, "I have something I have to tell you. I like anime." And I went, "What?" We were 2.5 years in, and I'm like, "You?" She's like, "I love Sailor Moon. I love Pokemon. I love Hello Kitty. I love I love Japan, and I haven't said a word about it this entire time." And I'm like, "I was president of the anime club." She was like, "What?" And we did we just become best friends? and that's I think when it all came flooding back. But,
yeah,
nice.
But I never got into Magic because by the time I had friends who were playing competitive card games, I was like, stuff's lame.
Yeah.
I'm an adult and I'm into mature anime.
Having girlfriends and things, because only cool guys have girlfriends.
Yeah.
I never got into that. It's funny, I look back at that, all those sorts of, Pokemon and card games. I probably never got into those because I was discouraged because you grew up poor as hell.
Dude.
So my parents were like, no, those are lame. Just because they couldn't afford those things to buy.
Shit, I don't need to be paying for those expansions.
I'm not going to buy a Pokemon, set of cards.
Thankfully, my dad was a gamer, so we got around to the whole that's lame because we had our first Super Nintendo when I was 7.
Wow.
because he wanted it.
His dad wanted a Super Nintendo. Actually, I think I was 5. Brett Barrett was 7 or 8. Okay, so what brought you back? Because, I explained what brought me back, basically. A girl who was no, seriously, let a freak flag fly. Brian.
Just nerdy stuff in general. I kind of just stopped giving a shit. I'm like, I like this stuff. I still like the stuff. You know what it really was? It was Tate.
Dude, I love that man.
Yeah, because Tate has always been...
Tate is unabashedly a geek.
Always. And that's why I love that guy.
That's awesome.
And so, meanwhile, here's me, trying to do all sports and be the bro jock dude, which never ever worked to begin with. Because I still like the nerdy stuff, and I didn't care enough about the sporty stuff.
And what's fun is how many jock friends of yours have been like, "Can I borrow some comic books?"
Oh, totally. Yeah.
They're all like, "Can you let me in, man? Can you let me into this cool kids club? Because we're actually all faking it."
Yeah. But
really
so Tate kept going with all this stuff, and we'd hang out, and he'd just kind of update me on what was going on, and then I kind of got back into comics, and then started playing a little more video games, and then got a little more into anime, sort of, but then dropped out again because all this other stuff's coming out, like Game of Thrones and all the Marvel movies.
It became very...
But then also, around that same time, it started being cool to be a geek, and I'm like, where was this when I was growing up getting picked on and bullied about it?
And I gotta say, the one thing that's made this the strongest has been you and this podcast. Because I've been really it's always been kind of back burnery. I was a rock climbing instructor. I wanted to travel, and I did, I was going into acting, so I was reading acting books and stuff, so I really wasn't making time for this. And this podcast kind of made this sort of my a part-time job. There's a certain expectations for being up there. That and Tommy Isbell mentioning Civil War in a barbershop.
Oh yeah, I've said before.
A
couple podcasts ago. Yeah,
and me telling you, you were like, "Oh, here, let you read some comics." And I started, I got my stack, and each time the stack grew bigger because I kept going, "Wait, who's that?
Yeah.
Wait, you have any books for this guy?
What happens with this character?
What happens when he leaves?" And suddenly I'm getting, a half box every single time until about 3 years ago when I slowed down again.
Yeah.
But now with this podcast, it's like, oh, I gotta remember what's going on in anime right now. And so I started watching current anime again.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I started when I go to bed, I now, instead of I deleted Facebook because when I go to bed, I either read a book, read a comic, or play a video game or watch a show. I will consume some sort of media before I go to bed, which may or may not be healthy. I don't know, but it helps me because it's a nice way to wind down. But also I get to catch up on stuff.
Yeah.
And so I've made a better concentrated effort to being on task again with this, nonsensical thing. But Scooter.
What got me back into it? Well, I don't know, just realizing, I'm a grown-up now. I can do what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
I have the money to do what I want.
Having money, right? We talked about that.
Now I have, the capital and no children, so, I'm my own kid.
Yeah.
So that's always fun.
Yeah.
My brother, when he was about to have a son, they had not even, gotten pregnant yet. TMI, but my brother's like, I need to have a son because I want an excuse to buy Legos and play with them again.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself,
so many people say that. It's
how about I just go buy Legos and play with them
again? And that's the same boat I'm in. I just buy Legos to play with them. I don't play with them.
Yeah.
But
you build and you put them together, you're like, I forgot
and that's
how
awesome.
good
I have it now.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah.
And it's like, I told my wife, is like, if we have kids, I'm getting 2 of everything. One for me to have and keep as pristine as I want it to be, or utilize however I want, and then one for the kid to, just put up his nose or, whatever he's going to do with as kids do,
Yeah.
Everything goes up the nose or in the mouth.
Right.
So...
There's remarks there, but I guess we're talking about kids, so maybe we'll leave those.
Family friendly.
Anyway, no. But I've just established that that's going to be the case. But I don't know, just being able to do it. And the other habit I had, not a bad one, just became a little more expensive. I became obsessed with playing, I started playing guitar.
Yeah.
Right.
And those are expensive.
Yeah.
That got pretty deep, I started,
You got a decent amount in there. I didn't realize.
I got a good amount.
Yeah, you do.
Too many.
Yeah.
I can't play them all at once.
You got like an eighth of Guitar Center sitting in your room over there.
I wish it was an 8.
It's a lot better than one bass, one guitar, one drum set I have.
It's a lot.
The one Yamaha I have.
Yeah, it got to where I was making my own guitars.
Yeah,
there's that. So
rad.
I don't want that to be braggy.
No, not at all.
They're bad. No.
They're super cool.
Yeah.
But this is a podcast, and he has some seriously sick-looking guitars in there.
That he
built.
Put together himself.
But Lego are a lot more affordable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, again, like I said, with the Iron Man, being different. Each Iron Man that I noticed being a different sort of design, different suit. I had to have those. And then from there, it's like, well, I can't just have Iron Man. There's different caps.
Yeah.
I have to have all the different Captain America.
Gotcha.
I have to have, all the different Hawkeye. I have to have the different,
And a lot of times those sets will come with like a couple different characters, but you're like, oh, I like this character. What else does he have?
Exactly, yeah. So since they're different, so it's just, that brought it back up. And, so that's really what just started. It's like, I don't care. I'm going to buy what I want, when I want, where I want, who I want.
Yeah.
No, not really.
Whoa.
Almost.
Yeah, that's just what started it up again.
I think that's the essence of being a geek. Like, really and truly, most geekness, when you like, quote unquote, geek out about something, it is mild obsession,
freedom
with completionism, and the freedom to play with unabashedly and unashamedly.
And excitedly.
There was a quote we were talking about earlier by C.S. Lewis, and it was, when I was 10, I read fairy tales in secret, and would have been ashamed if I had been doing so. Now that I'm 50, I read them openly. When I became a man, I put away childish things, including the fear of childishness and the desire to be very grown up. Mm-hmm. That's such a great phrasing too, because grown up is like the most childish way to say I'm an adult.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a grown up.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a grown up, and I think that this time is we're so freaking lucky, because like so many people who are 2-3 generations above us still, I think, have that kind of, like, you need to grow up.
Yeah.
You don't need to like these things anymore. Or like, when I was a kid, my dad got the Nintendo and we were really excited. Sure. I was 30 years old and my dad went, oh, I'm going to be your favorite person today. And I was like, why? And he's like, I got us all Far Cry 5. And he got us all a copy of Far Cry 5 so that we could go play together.
Yeah.
Because, cool. And then like I come home, anytime I come home, he's like, so, today I was in such and such region, and I was fighting this bear, and like, we're just shooting the shit about this, and it's seriously one of my favorite things in the world now, is to be able to just chat with my dad about video games.
That's awesome.
And that's what bonded my brothers and I together, that's what bonded my sister and I together. My sister and I just bought like 3 different super cheap IP video games like Star Trek and Iron Man and Captain America. Like, they're like $7-8.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
But we've been blitzing through those, and it's one of those things that as a family we've all had together. So we've all been able to appreciate and like those things unabashedly.
Yeah.
My sister will kick my ass on Madden anytime I ever try. Like, Brianna is so damn good at that game, and can definitely give me a run for my money. But like, that's my whole family. We have a box and like on top of a cabinet that is full of every game that we ever owned, quote, as a family.
Wow.
And anytime somebody wants one, they go to my parents' house and they'll be like, hey, I'm coming by, I'm stealing, Mickey Mania and Donkey Kong Country. Yeah, we're basically just going to our tiny personal Blockbuster. And, I brought home the Star Trek game and I said, hey, I got you. No, I got us the Star Trek game. And she looks and she's like, are you Kirk or are you Spock? And I'm like, I'm taking Spock. She goes, sweet. This is something that I'm really lucky to have siblings who kind of push that.
Yeah.
But I think that the reason this has gotten so popular, and I mean, you guys can disagree or agree or comment, whatever, but I think the reason that this has become so mainstream is because now that there's such open communication through everyone and everyone's feelings
on the
internet, there's a community for everything.
Yeah.
There's a Lego community on Reddit. There's a Steven Universe community. There's a Steven Universe community that doesn't take Steven Universe so seriously. Like, there's sects within those communities. There's the Marvel community. There's the Marvel Cinematic Universe community.
Yeah.
If you don't like talking about the comics, or, if you're one of those people who's like, well, it wasn't true to the comics, which isn't a whole lot in the Marvel Universe anymore. If you're one of those, then you can go to that community instead. Yep. And so finding your group of geeks to hang out with, finding your corner of the library is doable.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm just really lucky that I have it in my family and, and Brian.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a lot of the way I relate to my youngest brother, because there's a 13-year gap between me and my youngest brother. Mm-hmm. And about the time that he was, getting into or about to get it out of things, get to that point where it's like, oh, I'm older now, I'm going to get out of it. No, dude. Trust me. You're going to wish you kept all this stuff.
Yep.
And we would relate, like, we'll watch, cartoons together still, and we'll talk about Lego and all this stuff still. It's like, so that's how I relate to my youngest, because otherwise it's like, he's 18 and I'm almost 32, so it's like, who is this kid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's cool that we have that commonality, and there's a way to relate, because otherwise it's weird.
And you can do that with just about anything. I geek out about wine and cheese with my older sister Brooke, but I also geek out about Game of Thrones and high fantasy with her as well.
Yeah,
like those are the two things that I think we probably talk about the most. Most of the really intense books that I've read, if they didn't come from Brian, they came from Brooke. So I mean, I don't know, it's great.
Awesome. I would say I'm close. Obviously, I'm close to all my siblings, but I'm probably closer to the one that's closest to me in age.
Right.
Just because we've been together the longest.
Right. Yeah.
And, we have a lot more in common. We have a lot more in common, so we'll do, random things together, but, like, have those tiny little things that we can geek out on with the other ones. Like, I have music with my, second brother, and then cartoons and toys with my third brother. So
That's awesome.
It's awesome that we can just connect on those things and know that it's like, oh, yeah, we do like each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have this thing. We have this thing that we can bond over.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do you ever find yourself geeking out about something and then, like, checking yourself that's, like, not something you grew up with? Like, I recently got into Magic the Gathering, and I'm still pretty low-key about that, despite the fact that I bought 2 booster packs and a random pack today. We have a problem. But... like, I feel like there's certain things.
There's certain levels that are like too geeky.
Well, and even now, like stuff that was super mainstream for a hot second and then died, like Pokemon Go.
Oh yeah.
I love Pokemon Go.
I still play it.
I love Pokemon Go. And I enjoy walking with it. Brian and I, we go walking. Dave and I go out.
It's kind of how I get my exercise since I've been sick. Like,
awesome.
I can't really exercise too strenuously. Don't get mono; that shit sucks.
Yeah.
But walking around with Pokemon Go kind of gets me out and about a little bit.
Oh, that's good.
But right after Pokemon Go had all those glitchy problems, and everybody was finally like, "Well, forget this game."
Yeah.
Suddenly, it was like not just not cool anymore, but like lame. And there was this period that it was really...
Yeah, I didn't play for good 8-10 months.
Yeah, well, I mean, and don't get me wrong, the game had a lot of problems. There was a lot of reason not to go back for a second. But it was one of those things where, like the other day, I got stopped by a security guard while I was at a fountain because it was 1 a.m. and I was on my way home and I saw that there was an empty gym and I was going to take it over. But the guy walks over and he's like, "What are you doing here?" And I looked at him and I looked at my phone and I looked back at him and I said, "You're going to judge me." And he goes, "I have to ask." And I go, "I'm taking over this gym." And he goes, "I mean, it's that or you're taking a picture of the gym. It's usually only those two things." And I'm like, "Oh, good. This is a regular problem."
Yeah, he knows.
You know?
Yeah.
But for a long time, I wouldn't open it in front of people. When I'd walk in the park, I'd kind of hide the screen.
Yeah.
Because everyone knew what it was because everybody had that. I mean, that first month that it came out, that summer, everyone lost like 10 pounds.
Oh, it was huge. Yeah.
The parks were packed until 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And then they still had people there till 4.
Yeah.
People were playing until the sun came up.
That's insane. Yeah, I remember the videos of the rush in Central Park.
Yeah.
I never got into Pokemon in any way, and just from the way you're talking about the exercise, I wish, because with my obsessive sort of completionist sort of thing,
that's my problem with it.
If I got into
Gotta catch them all.
I would be up at 3 a.m. in some place. I have a friend. We have a friend. That got so into it and had the free time that he went from Bakersfield to somewhere in LA because he found out that there was
a nest.
Something. Yeah.
Who's that?
Manuel.
He did call me, and I'm really upset.
He would walk around a park at in town at 2, 3, 4 in the morning, just like, "Oh, there's this. I'm gonna go get it."
When it first came out, there were people who had kind of hacked the code and had figured out where things were dropping. Based on other people's info, which they eventually stopped down. But their tracking system was such BS at the time that everyone was like, "It's justified. I want to know where it is." And so Trevor and I would be hanging out. My buddy Trevor would be hanging out, and he would have it on his computer. And when something would pop up, he'd be like, "Oh shit, there's a Lapras at the river." And we'd be like, "Get in the car." We'd run to the car, drive to the river, catch the Lapras, come back, and then continue doing whatever we were doing.
Get and that probably do it again.
Yeah.
He would go up and down. Our friend Emmanuel, he'd go up and down from LA and Bakersfield before he moved down there, and he would go out of his way, to whatever location to before he got home. Like there's
I do that on my way to work sometimes. Although I work 10 miles away from my house, so I have a little bit of distance to cover, and and I'll check whatever website. Oh, there's a ghastly nest halfway to work. Score! I'll stop there.
Yeah, we found out there was a ghastly nest in Tehachapi, and we discussed it. We discussed going to Tehachapi.
That's a drive.
Yeah,
it is a bit of a drive, but it's we got friends there too, so that's not too bad. But like now, the most I do is I'll be walking around my neighborhood, and I'll be like, "Oh, there's that stop over there. I guess I'll go stop." And it, honestly, like I welcome the brief workout that I'm gonna get for choosing to walk a little bit further.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it's like super unhealthy for me to have this. I think that's what's justified it. But like, if it was something that was really getting in the way, obviously I would have to stop it. If it was like burdening me financially in some regard, I would be able to. I would like to think that I would be able to do that. I mean, I don't buy a ton of Magic cards, but I think there's still like stigma against a lot of these things that we almost put on ourselves.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely internal pressure more so than external.
And I work for a high school part-time, and so the whole like, am I cool pressure like weirdly seeps into your subconscious. Like if you're not careful, because you're around all these people who are regularly judging everything. Including you. And I thankfully have kind of gotten to a point with the high school. It took me about 1.5 years to get back to it, because there was a point where I was really concerned, like, can I wear this shirt? Am I going to look cool?
Am I going to be awesome with these kids?
Because I want to
be the cool guy?
Am I the cool sub? Am I, and like there came a point where I finally realized, like, the kids I actually want to be cool with the most
don't.
They're the ones who appreciate the geekiness. And I can look at a kid, and there's something weirdly innately cool about looking a kid in the eye and being like, yeah, I do play Pokemon Go on the weekends.
You don't?
And it's awesome, and you're missing out. I hope you enjoy sitting.
I know, right? Guess what?
Sitting's the new smoking, kid.
Yeah.
I get to do this all the time.
Yeah, you know what I did? I drove there with my car that I own. How's that?
Seriously. Guess what? You can do this too.
Yeah.
When you're a big person.
When you're a big person, would you say big up? Were you about to say
I don't know
big
what
up?
I was gonna say.
I'm a big up.
And I want that erased. No. Yeah. No, it's just, that's the coolest thing too. It's like, as a quote unquote adult.
Yeah.
You can just look at the people that are, looking up to you and be like, hey, guess what? You can still do the things that you like now whenever you want when you're, responsible.
Yeah.
Because that's the coolest thing about that.
Yeah, well, and that's the other thing is I don't think anybody tells kids, none of those adults know what they're doing.
No.
They're not ready.
Yeah.
None of them think they're ready. None of them think they're there yet.
That's the biggest revelation.
That 35-year-old still is wondering what he's going to do when he grows up.
Yeah.
Like,
that's the biggest revelation you find out once you've, left college or whatever it is, or you're working and you're like, oh, hey, nobody knows anything.
Yeah.
Everybody's guessing and hoping they don't die.
Yeah. Like, I was talking to my brother about this earlier today. I was like, I hope that people aren't bothered by the fact that I regularly will call them out of the blue. Like, hey, haven't talked to you in 2 years, but I got a question about a thing I know you happen to be good at.
Yeah.
And it could be anything from, like, legal counsel from Jordan to, like, can I please get an explanation of what happened in this particular show that I know you were obsessed with in high school.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll get, dude, I haven't thought about that in, like, 5 years.
Ages.
And I'll be like, okay, cool. But other times they'll be like, dude, yeah. And then they, like, load me up with info. And I'm like, you know what I could have done? I could have gone to Google. And then when I had a follow-up question, had to search through more crap on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Like, why not make this a human connection thing? I think there's something really, really dope about the fact that what I did exactly that. Tommy told me a thing and I was like, I don't want to have to go searching through Google to find out whether this is true or not. One, because I'll get spoilers, and two, because that's a lot to have to sift through.
Yeah.
You know who knows about this? Brian, because I know that dude reads comic books. Yep. And then I ask him, and now we have a podcast. High five.
Yeah, he's my go-to. Anytime I'm like, wait, I don't have to do this. I could just easily just ask Brian. I can ask Romero, and he'll give me what I need to know.
Yeah.
And it's that simple. I had a roommate that I hadn't spoken to in at least, I don't know, on the phone at least. I'd text him every now and then, but I hadn't spoken to him on the phone. I don't even know how long. And I had an issue, and I knew he was in IT now. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'm gonna call Scott.
Yep.
He's gonna help me. Let me know if I'm SOL or if this is fixable.
Yeah.
And boom, he's like, oh yeah, like there was no time passed. It was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that's how we've gotten half of our hosts. Like awesome. our guests. I mean, you're here. I mean, obviously, we were also coming over to barbecue and stuff, but we were like, dude, let's get Scooter on. Heck yeah, Scooter's great. But, like, Dave, anytime we have something historical regarding comic books or with Doctor Who, I mean, if we're ever going to talk about Pokemon, like, the reason he's on the podcast at all is because we're like, oh, you know who actually knows a shitload about that?
Yeah.
Everything?
We're like, hey, we're going to talk about retro games. Oh, you know who knows a shitload about that? Nick. Oh, we're going to talk about Ewoks. Like, you know who knows a shit ton about Ewoks? Stephanie.
Yep.
Anytime we have one of those things, so if we know somebody with a specialty that is geek related, that's why this happens.
Yeah.
Just like when I heard the podcast where you were talking about toys and you mentioned me, and I freaked out a little bit because that was awesome. And here I am.
Nice. Yeah,
but what do you know?
Episode 20.
Episode 20.
Cool. Yeah. Brian, you got anything else to add?
I don't.
I mean, we kind of covered the whole why it's great to be a geek thing.
Yeah.
It's great to be a geek.
It is great. It is. Especially because you don't have to be a geek in the, typical geek things to be a geek.
My sister's a major Stranger Things geek.
Yeah. I'm a guitar and Lego and action figure geek.
I don't want to make my list right now.
Marvel movies, and that's it. I never read comics. Anytime a movie's about to come out, I'm like, you know what? I need to look up this specific hero and what it's all about. And I get so overwhelmed, I'm like, screw this, never again.
We've all gotten lost in tvtropes.com or Wikipedia. When you get into the Wikipedia hole. Yeah. I loved Beast Wars when I was a kid.
Oh, yes.
Freaking loved Beast Wars.
Loved it.
And somebody popped up in the Transformers movie, and no, it wasn't even, was it? I don't remember how it was, but I eventually landed on Transformers in Wikipedia. And by the end of that night, I knew so much random crap about 80s Transformers, which I didn't even watch 1980s Transformers. I watched Beast Wars.
You were barely alive.
Well, yeah, there was that. But I also was like weirdly aware of a ton of other 80s shows because my brother was born in 84 and my sister was born in 79.
Yeah.
I have two people who are old enough to control the remote to say, no, we're watching Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, guess what?
We're watching X-Men.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think 5-year-old, 6-year-old me would have cared about the X-Men show that much.
Oh, I did.
But, I don't know that I would have necessarily gone to it because I was still very much in Under the Umbrella Tree and and the Fraggle Rock and that kind of stuff, which was also 80s and early 90s, and Rugrats. You know?
Oh, yeah.
But Barrett was like, no, dude. This is it.
This is the thing.
This is it. And I'm like, 4, 5, 6, whatever. Let's see, 92, so I guess it was 5. Like, that's what got me into it, So there's no reason for me to have gotten down into this Transformers hole, but like you can fall down those holes so quickly just looking. Yeah. And with X-Men, the cards or all these other things, so it's like they're in your head. Yeah. But like, why not just ask somebody? Like that's why I asked Brian. That's why I would come to any of the friends I have. That's why, like, if I have a movie like cinematic analysis that I'll do, I'm pretty much gonna go either to Logan or to Devin. And Logan and Devin critique film in a very different way, which I really appreciate.
Interesting.
But, that's where I go for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's really nice. I can talk about the more intricate cinema stuff because of that.
Yeah.
But I have a person.
Yeah.
And I think everyone should have their thing. Yeah. And we should all celebrate everybody else's thing. Like, I don't have to be that huge into guitars. Yeah. To appreciate how much you love guitars. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily need to be into the stuff that the champ is into to appreciate how much he's into it. Yeah. I will never understand somebody who's obsessed with football. I get that you're into it. Congratulations. I still don't get it.
It's just not your thing.
But it's not my thing. But it's not my thing, and I'm not going to be like, whatever. If somebody around me really loves something and I am able to give it a proper shot, like with them, that's how I wound up screaming with my brother at 2 different Blackhawks games and like refound my love of hockey again. Nice. Because I was around that sort of thing. But like, I didn't have to be.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes you find those things a little bit later.
You do.
Yeah.
You come back.
You come back or you come to it late.
Yeah.
I was late to the game with comics. I was late to the game with Magic. I love them both.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which is expensive.
Very.
Shout out to our collectibles. Yeah. And X-Wing shit. All right, so Scooter, what are you into right now? What are you reading? What are you collecting? What's your white whale? Give me something that's been kind of your current minor obsession.
Well, Legos have still been. Yeah. They are just. I'll be surprised when I give up on that, honestly. Yeah. But my white whale right now is actually the Quicksilver minifig because from Avengers.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
And I haven't been able to find it for a price that I'm willing to pay.
Yeah, fair. What set did it come with? Yeah,
it was a set that had the Hulk and Cap, Baron
Strucker, Baron Zemo.
Yes,
Baron Zemo.
No,
Strucker. No, was Strucker?
Yeah, really? Strucker, because he was Civil War.
Yeah,
Zemo, right?
Zemo was Civil War.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to find that guy.
Wait, Von Strucker,
the guy with the monocle,
was Ultron.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah,
Ultron.
That's right. They just took him out super fast. I forgot.
Yeah, exactly.
And then his son had a fairly large role on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh.
Anyways.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
Which season was that?
2 or 3.
Is that the one with Ward as Hydra?
Maybe.
I don't know. I stopped watching Agents after season 1.
Well, a lot of people did, but it got
a lot of people did, and that was their mistake. They should have started on season 2.
Yeah.
Anyway, TV shows. You mentioned you and Jenny were rewatching Game of Thrones.
Yeah, we're doing that ever so slowly because when season 1, we started it after season 2.
Okay.
You came in season 3?
You started watching, but it was around then.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You started at 1.
Late. We started really late.
That's fair.
We were very late to the game because didn't have HBO. We were on our own poor.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to do anything. I don't know how to do anything.
Okay.
Ever. But she was in school, going through college, and I had nothing to do other than to watch her do homework.
Yeah.
Lame.
Yeah. So I watched Game of Thrones, and she did homework, and she was vaguely paying attention. So
she's like, did and finish. They killed that guy?
Oh, what? Boobs? Oh, penis? Oh, who's that guy? Why is he dead now? Okay, who cares? But she would, be doing that, and then she got done with school, and
she's like, can we revisit the boobs, penis, and death again?
Yeah, I know, right? So she started watching, after that, getting into it, and she's realized, like, I don't know who half of these people are, even though they're all dead.
Well, good news. By season 4, I don't think a lot of people know who a lot of people are, even if they've been watching.
That's true. And I told her that.
It's a lot
and
to
it's
keep track
guess what?
of.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
In the books, it's 10 times worse.
I never read them. I've had friends that
read the first book and a half.
And
I'm halfway through the third one, and I have been for 10 years.
Yeah, I can't. I pick it up,
and I read maybe 20 to 70 pages, and then I don't pick it up for another year.
No, anybody that I come into contact with or we talk about, anybody's like, oh, I've never seen Game of Thrones, should I watch it? I tell them no.
Really?
Yes, because I tell them, it's like, if you've ever wanted to be frustrated or angry at a TV show that's fake, because obviously all TV is fake.
Yeah.
But you want to get so invested and then have your heart ripped out.
Multiple times.
Every season.
Yeah, I'm only on season 3.
Then
I'm about to start season 4.
Yeah,
and apparently I'm in for some heartache.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Because I just finished the Red Wedding. It's like Red Wedding and then the dumb episode about Daenerys. I say dumb episode. Everyone's like, that episode's so great. And I'm like, yeah, it's also like the 4th Daenerys chapter in the book.
Yeah.
Like it's not even that big of a deal. Like it's cool. It's really cool, but it wasn't a cool way to end the season. And it was not the relief I needed after watching all of that shit go down in the Red Wedding.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that was crushing.
Yeah. But yeah, I
almost gave up. I don't know how many times a season will end and I'm like, I'm never watching this again.
You've heard me for the last time, George R. R. Martin.
I've cursed his name so many times.
You and many, many others.
Yeah. But, I've really liked, and this, I don't know if it's sacrilege or not, but I like the direction they go once he's,
out of the picture.
Out of the picture.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Brian, are you reading anything right now? Anything new?
What am I talking about right now?
Or collecting? Or
I just picked up the Art of Han Solo book. I typically get all the Art of Star Wars books because I just love that stuff.
Yeah.
It's like,
you get a lot of really good gems for like potential expanded universe stuff too.
Oh yeah. Like they say, like, we got this idea from this old expanded universe legend story, or we used these leftover designs from The Force Awakens, or like, we went through this and it went through this many iterations before we left with this whatever ship that's on screen. Like there's some cool, like awesome. Really cool behind the scenes stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah. Or like a piece of artwork that's like in the background that you can't really get a good look at.
Yeah.
But it's
in
solid.
Its full spread.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
like this mosaic on the floor in Last Jedi is a half light side, half dark side,
with
like
a lightsaber
perfectly balanced Jedi in like a meditative pose.
Yeah.
And there's really never a good solid shot of it, but the image is in the book.
Oh, that's awesome.
So Art of Han Solo book.
Look at that.
Yeah.
And
Art of Han Solo, and then just keeping up with a few comics lately. X-Men wise, Kitty Pryde and Colossus are finally getting married.
Finally.
Yeah, so that's
finally.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of her and Star-Lord.
Oh, that was such a good
I also
want
Colossus to have love.
Yeah. He deserves it.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tilling fields by dragging his own tractor. That's a reference to a 2007 comic.
Oh,
I think.
But yeah, that's about it for me. What about you, Bryce?
So Battle Bond just came out for Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
And every time we've played Magic, we've always talked about how we wish we could play with 2 extra players and do that. And
big old team, 2 versus 2.
2 versus 2.
Or even like a 1 versus 1 versus 1 versus 1, something like that.
Yeah, just something to kind of expand the game just a little further, because I like one-on-one games. They're really nice because sometimes you just can't get a group together.
Yeah.
But I used to have game night all the time.
Oh yeah, same.
So I really miss
that multiplayer.
I miss multiplayer, and I miss cooperative multiplayer.
Yeah.
I grew up on split screen stuff, so I really want that more often. So Battle Bond is this new expansion for Magic the Gathering that really encourages you to play with 2 versus 2. Mm-hmm. Like there's things where your partner can help pay for things and pay the mana cost and stuff. And then I'm still reading American Gods. Oh, I'm finishing Jessica Jones, the TV show Jessica Jones. Oh, and you know what I just finished? And I loved it. Lost in Space.
Halfway through it.
Yeah,
My God.
I stopped like
really
2 or 3 episodes in and just got distracted by other things.
I started watching and I was like, I love Lost in Space. I watched the original Lost in Space when it was on TV Land.
Yeah.
And a Nick at Night. And I watched the Lost in Space remake with Matt LeBlanc over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Weirdly
I tried to
movie.
rewatch that not too long ago and couldn't make it.
Oh, dude, I love it. I love it.
Oh, I loved it from, back in the day.
Those alien. I had action figures from the movie.
Me too.
I
still have Will Smith. He's in
You have
that
Will
room
Smith?
right
Do you have
there.
adult Will Smith? Who is played by actual adult Will Smith?
I have.
Or Will Smith. Will Roberts. Will
Yeah,
Robinson.
not
Will Smith.
Yeah.
Not Will Smith. Do you have adult Will Robinson?
I have
that
child.
Or child Will Robinson?
Will Robinson.
Okay.
Oh,
That's
I really want to rewatch that movie.
What's
now.
cool is, I mean, there was so much about that movie that was so neat.
Yeah.
And I get that like the CGI is dated.
Oh yeah, bad.
And but the comedy's decent. It's not like cringy.
No.
Let's see like Gary Oldman.
And Gary Oldman's phenomenal.
You can't go wrong with that.
I mean, there's some. I mean, we'll not go into that.
Yeah.
But as an actor, Gary Oldman is really great,
He's okay.
and I think his Winston Churchill won some awards, but I guess that's just me.
Hey, Winston Churchill.
Perfect, you're hired. Let's make a movie. Anyway, so I was watching Lost in Space, but like when I started it, I was like, I'm not sure. I feel like you've taken Dr. Smith and made her straight up just like chaotic evil. Like it's like having the Joker on set. And I always felt like Dr. Smith wants to be good, doesn't know how. Can't help but be a coward and screw people over.
It's like Loki.
And in this, but Loki like wants the chaos because he enjoys it.
That's true. Yeah.
This iteration with Parker Posey, who's fantastic. Because Parker Posey always has that like secret smile, like she's just having a fucking ball when she's acting. But Parker Posey's Dr. Smith is very much like a problem.
Oh yeah.
She is there to wreck shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like her at all.
Yeah,
And it's really frustrating, but then you start to realize as the show progresses that she's not possibly good, but she's also not as chaotic as you think. You start to realize, you start to figure out what her plan is, and you're like, oh no, this is not good. But I described it to Steven, who's in our Black Panther episode, which should be coming out pretty soon.
Hopefully.
I liked Lost in Space because it completely changes the overall story of Lost in Space while still maintaining the spirit of each individual character and their relationships with each other.
True. Yeah.
Dr. Smith still has a weird relationship with Will, where you're like, Will, you shouldn't trust this woman, but he like kind of knows that he can't, but he also knows that like Dr. Smith is more helpful than you would think.
Yeah.
Penny and Judy are both very smart. They both have their own. Everyone's in the same vein.
Yeah.
But they've really changed Don to be more than just a cocky space hero guy.
I haven't gotten too far.
He's
with
kind
him
of a
yet.
smuggler.
Yeah.
He's kind of Han Solo, but he's like worse about it.
Yeah.
And his relationship with Judy's really, really cool. They also have done some really neat stuff to create tension within the family.
Yeah.
In a way that's
with the parents,
really
I didn't expect
realistic.
That was.
But they do all that and then add in a fuckload more people.
Yeah.
And
I really like how they keep finding survivors.
Yeah. And then the show goes through and you get to the 13th episode or whatever. And honestly, like I thought it was going to end at 8. And then I was like, what? We're still going? We're still going? And it kept going because I didn't know how long it was going to be.
Because a lot of these shows will only go 8 or 10 episodes.
So it goes to a certain point. And when it got to the last episode, I remember watching it and being like, oh, this is where they're going.
Oh, wow.
And then something happened and I went, whoa, this is where they're going? And then like you just start to settle in and then bam, you're like,
something else?
What?
Wow.
And by the end of it, I was watching it at my family's house and my brother runs upstairs and goes, did you just sneeze or what just happened? And I was like, dude, holy shit, this show. And he was like, are you serious right now? And they were like, what did you just scream about? I'm like, I just finished Lost in Space. And my mom, who watched it first, was like, oh, yeah.
Oh, I get you.
Yeah, I get you. I know.
Wow.
So, but yeah, because I was back when I was, I watched the whole thing.
I'm halfway
actually.
Through. Yeah.
Anytime I visited my parents, that was when I decided to watch it.
Nice.
So I'm about to finish Jessica Jones. I'm enjoying that, and that's my little rant on Lost in Space. Everybody, you should watch Lost in Space. It's fantastic.
Check it out.
And you should get an Art of Star Wars book and check them out.
Yeah.
And
If that's your thing.
I was gonna say, I don't know if this matters, but I'm collecting Briars again.
Are you really?
Oh,
Yeah. I found a little antique store that is selling both large and small ones for a fraction of the price.
What makes a Briar horse a Briar horse?
Briar?
The company?
It's a brand.
It's just a specific brand of toy.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That makes these horses.
Yeah.
Are they made from a particular material? Is there a way to verify that they are Briar?
Yes, they're all stamped.
Nice.
They're just They're accurate. They're anatomically accurate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like cartoony things other than Lego.
Yeah.
Right.
My favorite thing is miniature versions of real life larger things. And Briar matched
that's
that.
perfect. There.
Like,
Yeah.
that gets me.
It gets you.
Gets me there. And
You got that mini? You got that mini, man?
yeah, is it anatomically correct? Does it look like it was shrunk down like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? Oh.
So the question of would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck? You know what it's like to face a bunch of horse-sized or duck-sized horses.
Oh, I would love them. They would be. I wouldn't fight them. I would love them till they were mine and they loved me.
They'd be your army.
Yeah, and then that's my dream. You remember that old DirecTV commercial where that Russian guy kisses the tiny giraffe?
Yeah.
That's my biggest dream in the world. I want that
All
more
right,
than
scientist
anything.
listeners, genetically engineer a tiny giraffe for Scooter.
Please.
Get it together.
Please. So yeah, I did that. Plus today, I'm not too nerdy on it, but we have a Triple Crown winner for all you horse people out there.
What? It happened?
It happened. The Triple Crown was won today by Justify. So
No way.
I'm so stoked on getting a Justify Briar. You have no idea.
Oh my gosh, that's
I'm-
crazy. We were just talking about that
Yeah.
at John's house, or John's parents' house,
Oh, yeah?
like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So I'm excited.
Triple Crown
about that.
happened.
It happened.
Hasn't
And
happened
I watched
since like this.
2015.
Oh, was it
the last
2015?
time?
Okay, before that it was a long.
It was
time.
a long time.
It's a very rare thing, dude,
Very
for
rare.
that because there's
Very
just so
rare.
many factors.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
But yeah, it was crazy. The owner, trainer, same guy as 2015. So he's like,
He's
a machine.
He's rolling in it right
Yeah.
now. There,
Yeah.
He's getting calls out the
Yeah.
waz.
Yeah.
yeah,
Get that
so,
man an agent.
for sure. He's got several, I'm sure. But
I know.
yeah, I'm very excited about that, and I'm collecting those again because I'm
can.
I'm
You
not.
want to.
I can,
Yeah.
and I will.
Because you can and you want to, and no one's gonna tell you no.
Yeah,
And if they do, they can suck butt.
exactly. Suck all the butt.
Mm-hmm.
And watching Rest Development and Kimmy Schmidt.
Oh yeah, because the new
Those
seasons just came out in the
yeah.
last 2 weeks. Yeah.
Already finished them.
Oh, were they good?
Nice. I
They're
still need to
pretty
watch them.
good.
Yeah.
They're pretty good. I was.
Was Kimmy Schmidt better fourth season than third season? Third season was
Yeah,
I watched the
I-
first
was
season.
Jackie
of that.
Lynn against
Yeah.
the Redskins and
Yeah, I think it. I
Kimmy
want to
goes
say
to
that
school, I
it
think.
was. I want to say that it was. I've only seen it once, and I have a real bad habit lately of not fully paying attention because I'm addicted to my telephone.
Yeah.
So,
as
you
is
know.
most people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to rewatch them, and it's short because they're for Kimmy Schmidt. They're breaking it like in half. There's only 6 episodes,
oh really?
Oh.
That's
Yeah.
super easy.
and I guess the rest, whether it's another 6 or a movie, I guess it's yet to be determined from what I
They said there's
read.
going to be one more, though.
Yeah.
Okay,
One
There's
more
at least a
story.
finale coming.
Yeah.
gotcha. Everyone's favorite mole woman.
Yeah, absolutely. I liked it. You know, Titus Andromedon.
Titus Andromedon.
He's
Titus
the best.
Andromedon.
Ah, Pinot Noir.
Pinot
Sorry.
Noir, caviar, mid-sized car, Myanmar.
Yep, the
You
best.
don't have to be popular.
No, he's the best. So that was a good watch. And then Arrested Development was. I mean, it was cool that we got it,
Yeah.
yeah.
but I don't know. Like
I've
Did
kinda
it feel
heard
just
that.
kind of derivative?
maybe the best thing I read was that the premises was far fetched, but the individual like lines and scenes
They
within
handled it well.
were good.
I
Like
can
they
handle
had
that.
the the one-liners that you'll be able to quote and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
But yeah,
Cool.
Huh?
those are
Right on.
Yeah, I'll probably get around to those
Yeah.
pretty soon here.
yeah.
Right on. Well, this has been enlightening. Those are all the things we're into. You be into anything that you want to. And that's all there is to it. It's a beautiful day in my neighborhood. Beautiful day for a neighbor.
Bye.
That documentary's out.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
I can't wait to
yeah.
watch it. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Oh, no
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Okay, now for real, I'm actually going to close it.
Bye.
Bye.
Granted.
on my giggles now, because that's too hard. Hey everybody, this is Scooter. No. Damn it. This is going to be too... Okay.
There's too much pressure.
It is.
Long-time fan, first-time caller.
It's true. It's true. It's very true. When do I do it? Like
Right now.
Literally anytime you want. I've been recording for a
Oh,
minute.
good. You got to keep this whole thing. No.
Yeah. Longest intro ever.
Oh, was that? Oh, shit. Oh, sorry. Hey, everybody.
This is a family podcast. This is a Christian server.
What was I going to say again?
You're going to say, my name's Scooter. My favorite fruit is pickles. And you're listening to episode 20.
This is Scooter. My favorite fruit is pickles. And you're listening.
Isn't it?
Isn't
And Issanin.
Episode 20 of Geeky Sneak.
Try again.
Nailed it.
I know, right? This is Scooter, and you're listening.
More goofy.
Why? Why is this?
Because it was better when you did a goofy.
No.
You gotta stop worrying about being cool.
No.
No.
What? I'm not trying to be cool. I just don't want to
Whatever.
sound stupid.
Trust me, buddy. You're long past that.
Oh, good. Thank you. You know,
We all sound stupid regularly.
all the time.
Yeah.
Do you know how many
That's
times I
weird.
just looked at Brian and gone, wait, what?
What?
After he said something and I'm like, everything I thought I knew was a lie. It happens a lot.
I'm Scooter. My favorite fruit is pickles. This is episode 20 of Sneaky Geek.
You should say that again, but really articulate fruit.
I'm Scooter. My favorite fruit is pickles. This is episode 20 of Sneaky Geek.
We'll fix it in post.
Yeah, we'll fix it in post. It's
I don't
fine.
know. What did... Fruit.
No, it sounded like you said
Fruit.
food.
My favorite fruit. I'm sorry. I'm just giving you options.
My favorite
Fruit.
fruit.
My favorite fruit is pickles.
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 Okay,
I think we're good now.
I think
You
we're
want
good.
me to do it one more time?
one more time.
Just did.
Fruit.
Fruit. I've already ruined this podcast.
Vegetables. Oh, fuck.
I ruined it. Oh, God. Soiled it.
No, yeah.
You have this. Sorry, let me say
up
that again.
until-
You have this really cool collection. Fuck it. We'll just keep the original.
There you go. Yeah.